Hey, friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is my buddy Chuck Mead. He's one of my favorite people, and he's going to tell you a story about what it was like to write songs with the great Guy Clark.
I met Guy Clark at Roberts. We had been playing Roberts for a while, and we met Brian Ahern, who was married to Emmylou Harris. He produced a lot of her seminal records in the '70s, and he's just a great producer. And I met him at 328 Performance Hall. He kind of came up to us and said, "I really want to get you guys in the studio." And I went over to his house, to his home studio, and he really wanted to work with us. And it didn't work out. It would have been kind of cool though. But Emmylou and him have daughters, and Megan was turning 16, and she was a big fan of ours. And so for her 16th birthday, they bought out Roberts, and we played. And there was just a few invited guests, and Guy Clark was one of them. And so I met Guy Clark, and he was impressed because we did the Johnny Cash version of "In the Jailhouse Now." And he goes, "I've never ever heard anybody ever that even knew that except me." And because it was one of Gary's things. Gary was like, knew that. And I don't know where he got it from. It must be a Johnny Cash record or something. But anyway, that's where we met him. And then we did a gig with him up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, I think. And he was with his son. His son was playing bass, and Verlin. And but he got up and sang "In the Jailhouse Now" with us. And yeah, it was kind of a cool moment. And then, we would kind of run across each other every now and again. And one time I remember him coming down to Layla's with Joe Ely. And they were out there bar hopping, and they ended up at Layla's. This is after BR. And we were just playing down there for, Layla let me have a shift every now and again, And Ely ended up getting up on stage and playing with us. And I'm a big Joe Ely fan, that guy. And so we kind of knew each other. It was around that same time, 2003, 2004. We did that. Bro and I produced that Johnny Cash tribute record. Well, then that went pretty well. So we did a Waylon Jennings one too, with all these, like Henry Rollins doing "Lonesome, Ornery, and Mean." Look that one up; it's pretty good. And I had John Doe doing "Only Daddy That'll Walk the Line," and we had Guy Clark doing "Good Hearted Woman." So he came into the studio, which is now Cowboy Keith's studio, where we were recording. And so we got a little more, and we actually worked together and got a little more intimately involved. And so we kind of knew each other. And then when I had a writing deal, we ended up getting put together on a writing appointment. And so I went over to his house, talked to him, and he was telling me how to get to his house because he was into it. And we wrote a song that ended up on the last BR record called "Lower Broad Street Blues." And it was cool to work with him. And, I went over there a handful of other times. One time I went over there on the Cinco de Mayo with a 6-pack of Tecate, and that 6-pack and a bottle of rum later, he was like, "Hey, go get another bottle." And I'm like, I have to make it over to the East Side, man. I can't do this. And then I'm starting to drive home. I'm like, what kind of idiot am I? I need to go get that man a bottle of rum. So I went to the liquor store, got a bottle of rum, and left it on his doorstep and went home because there's no way I would have to spend the night there. It was getting that way. But then I went back to the house the second time to finish it. We had the idea of Cinco de Mayo in Memphis, and we had a couple of lines, and then it just got a little foggy. And so we set up another time to revisit that, because that's what you do. It's still a good idea. And we both kind of worked on separate of each other, and then we reconvened and we were still coming up with verses, and we were, down in his workshop writing it. And he's like, "Hey, you want some coffee? Let's go upstairs and have some coffee." So we went upstairs to the kitchen, and Suzanne was there. It was the only time I'd ever seen her, because this is at a point where she was in bed, nobody saw her. And there she was in the kitchen. And so I got to meet Suzanne and hang out with her. And she's like, "What are you guys doing? What are you working on?" We told her, we're working on a song called Cinco de Mayo in Memphis. And she's like, "Cinco de Mayo in Memphis? What would that be like?" Like, just go back to the first question. You know, we've been working on it for a while, but now she's hearing about it. She's like, "Go back to the first question. What would that be like?" God, this house is a fucking tower of wisdom. It was amazing. It really was. It was a good feeling. And then we finished the song and, you know.
Was he always like fun to be around, pleasant to be around? What was he like?
He was with me. You know, he was curmudgeonly about certain things, but anytime I was there, it was like we were having fun and talking about music and writing and everything. And I think he was telling me once, you know, we talked about Emmett Miller a lot, actually. But yeah, you know, and I think he said, I can't remember. I think he was saying that Bill Monroe said, he goes, I can't remember who said this, but they said that every song in the whole world that you write now is just Sweet Betsy from Pike. And I carry that with me because I love Sweet Betsy from Pike. But it was great because he sat behind this whole wall full of cassettes that had cool songs and something he'd think of and go, oh, wait a minute. And then we'd listen to that for a while. Dig this. It was incredible. It was incredible. And then, you know, I just lost track of him. I mean, I saw him, he got sick. I saw him a few times after he kind of got well again. And when he was doing he was the artist in residence at the Country Music Hall of Fame. And I went to one of those shows and I think that was the last time I saw him. And then, you know, next thing I know, he's really sick. And people are saying, you got to go over. And major regret of my life was not going over there and talking to Guy. I mean, really, it's devastating to me that I didn't do that. I'm not sure if he cared, but I sure did.
Out of respect.
Well, you know, the guy was, you know, he was a giant in both stature and legend.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And tell me down below what your favorite Guy Clark song is. And I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.